So this week on the podcast, I'm very excited to have Rosie Parsons, the award-winning brand photographer, joining me to talk about having your photo taken for your business. This is something that loads of people panic about. They feel awkward, they feel nervous, they feel foolish even in front of the camera. But Rosie is one of the standout brand photographers. And if you check out all the testimonials on Google, I mean, everyone is saying how brilliant she is. She's absolutely brilliant. She really stood out for me on LinkedIn as well. So welcome, Rosie. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I'm really pleased to be here. Thanks for having me.
I would love it if you would just introduce yourself. I know you've got a big story. I'd love to hear how you got into this, when it started, and just how it's been going, a bit of story and background about you.
Yeah, sure. So I actually started my career in the music industry. I wanted to work in the music industry since I was like 14. And I studied music business at university. And then I ended up working for Tom Jones for 5 years, which was very cool.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And as part of that, and I did music journalism as well. And I used to go along to a lot of photo shoots and I'd see how the celebrities like to be treated and stuff. And I had an interest in photography. And I started doing wedding photography just as a hobby, and that was sort of at the weekends, and it started taking off really. And then that went really well. And so it got to the point where I had so many weddings on that I kind of needed to decide, do I want to stay in the music industry or do I want to work for myself? And I think, like most of us who work for ourselves, we like the idea of the freedom and stuff of working for ourselves and setting our own hours, and it meant I could live wherever I wanted. So I pursued that and sort of just did wedding photography full time, and ended up winning Cosmo Pride Wedding Photographer of the Year, which is very nice.
That's lovely. That's amazing.
Yeah, thanks. That was really good. And so and then I had triplets. So then weddings became like, well, it just wasn't really possible to go out on a Saturday, and like I was huge when I was pregnant, and it wasn't going to work. So I kind of scaled things right back to look after the kids. And then I had another baby as well. So I had 4 under 2.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. But I do really enjoy working. And even when they were little, I wrote a book about wedding photography, which went to #1 on Amazon for photography, which was really nice. And then I did some online courses about how to take photos and things on Udemy, which was also kind of kept me ticking over for a while. And then once they started school, I just still didn't want to go back to wedding photography because I didn't want to sort of spend weekends away from them. And I was going along to these networking meetings, and I really enjoy meeting women who run their own business. And it struck me that perhaps it'd be nice to kind of focus on branding photography. And then when I was sort of doing a little bit of everything, I was photographing for Devon Life magazine and sort of photographing anything I got booked for really, but wanting to kind of focus on branding. And then when lockdown happened, all my work dried up because I would get that through networking. And so I decided, well, I'm going to focus on color, being colorful and having fun, because I've got nothing to lose now. I've not got any work on anyway. So I started putting a portfolio together of shots that I'd really like to do. And people loved it, and it's kind of carried on from there, really.
I mean, it's just, that's a great story. I mean, going back first of all to the triplets, like, oh my God, and then having another one, that must have been such hard work.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe drove you to just push yourself to somewhere where you can be more in control.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think I could have possibly had a job, like a normal job, and had that many children. I was constantly needing to be in school, or someone was ill. There was always something going on. So to be able to set my own hours was really important.
Yeah, and at the weekend as well, the thing with wedding photography is that, isn't it? It's just it would take up all your weekends.
Yeah.
So you've really sort of fallen into your niche.
Yes.
Here.
Yeah.
And you just stand out. So on LinkedIn and everything else. And I think a lot of it is, I can feel your energy. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and when I've gone through your testimonials on Google, people saying the same thing over and over again, which I think is really important, is Rosie made me feel so at ease. And they're just also that they're really, really, really happy with the results. And obviously that's hugely important. but people, why is it that people feel so scared about, and I think, they put this off. This is something that people really put off. Why do they feel scared, and how do you help them with that?
Yeah, so I ask people that when they come in, because it's really interesting to me to find out what's making them feel anxious and things. But I get it the same. Like if I was to think about public speaking, I go, oh no, it's like the scrutiny and sort of all eyes on you kind of feeling, and any insecurities coming up to the surface. So people have their kind of own little insecurities that we wouldn't notice, like looking at people. Everyone's much more critical of themselves than we realize, and people will be worried about, like, oh, my double chin is a big one, or a crooked nose, and it's stuff that we wouldn't notice at all, and we just look at, are they a smiley happy person? So yeah, and I think they worry about looking awkward in front of the camera as well, and not knowing how to pose, what to do with their hands. So that's a major part of my day is when people come. We're not going straight into a cold, drafty studio and taking photos straight away. It's in my house. I've got the dog and the cat. So as soon as they come in, it's like nice and relaxed and warm and friendly. And then we've got like a buffet table of delights, which is really nice. And then they get their hair and makeup done as well. So we've got like their favorite music playing. They get their hair and makeup done for an hour and a half before they even step into the studio. And that gives them a good chance to get to chatting and getting to know me and relax. When I've tried to do it before without having a hair and makeup artist, and they come straight in, we might have a coffee, but then it's straight into the photos. It's like you need that time to acclimatize to being there and to get to know me better as well, because I do try and share myself on social media so people feel comfortable with me, but it's nothing like when you're actually here having a chat beforehand, because then when you're being photographed by me, it feels like, oh, I've got a friend photographing me, and that's how you get the really nice expressions, is because people are comfortable.
So environment is really, really important. And you've obviously put loads of thought, and that is actually a recurring theme that came through as well when I was reading through people's, client stories and things like that. Because even going to the hairdressers is stressful for some people, like sitting in front of the mirror and just, all that focus on you.
Yeah.
So you've sort of managed to make them feel relaxed. Talk to me about posing, like what sort of poses, because that physically awkward feeling that people have.
Yeah.
I get my husband to take some photos of me for my Instagram, and I just feel like I'm in the Dulwich Park, and I think, oh God, everyone's looking at me and I look stupid and that kind of stuff. So what are relaxing kind of poses?
Yeah, well, the good thing is, so I used to do a lot of photo shoots outside, but it definitely feels awkward with people watching you, having members of the public watch what you're doing, and you do feel like, oh, they think I'm all up myself and I'm trying to be an influencer or something, and it's like, I still feel like that myself. Like,
I do totally. I really hate having my photos taken outside in public.
Yeah, it's awkward. It is, but that's why. So when I moved to sort of doing it in my house, and it's all studio based now, that is a lot easier because you've not got somebody watching you. And then what I tend to do is I've got some set poses that I do, and then I will show my client what that looks like before. So I'll show them, and then they can come and have a go, and then I'll just tweak and adjust them. But it's also really important not to kind of stay in a pose too long, because then you start looking really stiff. So if you watch like Britain's Next Top Model, they'll kind of constantly be like, every time the camera goes, they'll be moving slightly. It's just like micro movements, and that helps sort of keep you loose, keep you moving, takes the stiffness away. And it's thinking about little things like your hands. So you can often tell when somebody's feeling nervous and stressed, anxious, by looking at the little things like their hands, how those are kind of placed. You want to kind of shake your hands out and relax your shoulders. Often they can rise up. So it's quite good with a professional photographer, because they'll be looking out for those little things that you might not even realize you're doing.
Oh, that's true as well. Yeah, because it's just, it's sort of little ticks almost that you have. I mean, I'm very much a gesticulator as well. So I'm very, I'm often, and I'm a fidget too. So it's sort of, when I'm on camera, I have to try and be aware of that sort of thing. So you said when you worked with celebrities, you were watching how they were treated. So they were sort of treated like...
Well, it's, for example, they always would like check what they wanted to eat and what music they wanted to listen to. So that's part of my onboarding now, is I have a questionnaire where I ask what people's favorite cakes are, what cold drinks they like. And I make sure that I get all that stuff in, and, you know, cater obviously if they're vegan and that kind of thing. But yeah, to more than just, are you vegan, but like, what's your favorite cake, and make sure that that's in. And so it's, yeah. And then also, yeah, what's your favorite music? What would you listen to if you were getting ready for a night out? Because you want them feeling pumped and excited. And I don't want to just have what music I'd listen to, because they might hate that. So we have some really fun things, from anything from opera to dance. 90s is a big one. People like 80s and 90s. So we
Me
listen to
too.
that a lot.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's my playlist.
Yeah. So it's really fun. I actually really enjoy like hearing all these different types of music. It's very eclectic. It's nice.
Yeah, but I love that personal touch, because that is, you know, it's thinking about them actually on a human level, like as a human being as well. Music, all the, you know, because music's such a big one for just how you feel.
Yeah.
Changing how you feel, and just like having the treats there as well, just feeling looked after.
Yeah.
I mean,
Definitely.
I think that would really, I love that. I think that would really put me at ease. So, I mean, how important, you know, you're a small business owner, I'm a small business owner. How important is it to be visible in your business?
It's incredibly important. I mean, I have had waves of not being that visible. So I used to have an assistant who was great, and she would take charge of doing all my social media and like filming behind the scenes, making sure it went online. And I was constantly getting inquiries and stuff like that. And then she left, and I was thinking, oh, do I really need to replace her? No. And then I didn't replace her, and that kind of, it fell off a cliff a bit, and I didn't update it. And then my inquiries just dried up. Like, people, if they can't see you, they're not being reminded of you, they're not going to be reaching out. So I've started making the effort to put myself out there again, making a plan. What do I want to share and why? And then, yeah, getting that done. And it's been like back to being really busy again. So it's huge. If you want your business to grow, you have to be visible. You have to be putting yourself out there, making that connection with your audience, showing them your personality and why you're different, what your values are, so that they can connect with you and be reminded of you.
I think one of the most powerful things that you post, for me, and actually I do this in my business as well, is the behind the scenes stuff. Because, you know, it's sort of taking out the mystery, isn't it? And showing people that it's actually, I mean, it just looks a load of fun. It just
it is. Yeah. Yeah. I
exactly.
think doing the behind the scenes videos is really important to show, to sort of take that mystery out, and because it can be very intimidating booking in for a photo shoot. You don't know what you're going to be going to. So seeing other people that look like you, that've got similar jobs to you, going and having a nice time is really important. And I try and interview people as well before they have their shoot, about how they're feeling, and because most people feel the same. They feel very anxious, don't like having their photo taken. And then I ask them again at the end, or how are you feeling now? And they're like, oh, it was actually really good fun. And yeah, it was good. So I think that's really, really reassuring for other people coming to see that.
I mean, it's just a hugely human thing. It's that we are all, that fear of the unknown puts so much more fear, because I can't say the word, but you sort of have catastrophic thoughts. Do you know what I mean? You can make the situation just more, you know, more scary than it really is. So that's why, because our minds do that.
And I think people are worried that it's quite an investment to do the personal branding shots, and they're worried that they're going to look awkward and not like the photos and stuff. So it's, to kind of show people the transformation and show the process. You need to build that trust. Yeah,
definitely build the trust. I mean, I actually really don't like my wedding photos, which is really sad, because I got this, the guy was recommended by the venue, and he didn't take one photo of me, Rosie, full length in my wedding dress.
Oh dear.
I'm not joking. It was just from the waist. So I had to get a photo from like one of my guests.
Yeah.
It's just kind of not, you know, so it was, you know, you've got to have the trust.
Yeah.
Which is why it's important to, in your business, if anyone's listening who is a small business owner, you know, to get comfortable with, you don't need to be dancing in front of cameras and all that kind of stuff, but to get across your message and your image, so that people, because people buy people.
Yeah. And I'd say with choosing a photographer, you want to pick like for personal branding or any kind of photography, you want to be able to insert your face into the work that they've already done and think, would I be happy if I had that photo of me in my business? Like, make sure that you're not trying to like make a photographer into something else. Pick them for what they are, what, you know, their strengths really. So like I do the block color, bright backgrounds and stuff. So, you know, that's what you, if you want that, that's what you come and see me for. Whereas if somebody wants sort of more lifestyle shots, for example, then you might find somebody else to do that. But make sure that you kind of find the right person for what you need.
Yeah. So you're definitely the, you know, personal brand photography. Would it be, and I love that you use the block colors, because that's what really makes it vibrant and makes all the shots stand out. So say if a lawyer came to you and said, I want a headshot for my business, would you do that? Is it all small business owners?
I do have lawyers come and see me, and so they often go for like the quite strong colors, like the reds.
Powerful.
Yeah. No, I have all sorts of people come, and they don't necessarily all just have their own businesses. That is the bulk of people who come, but I have people in like corporate jobs as well, who sort of want to be a thought leader in their industry, people who are kind of, who need photos to put themselves out there on LinkedIn and stand out and bring a bit of personality.
Because I think, I mean, I don't know if you agree, but I mean, this is a fairly recent thing, because I think, you know, the corporate world is changing. It was always very much from a fashion sense as well. You only wore a grey, navy or a black suit, the end, and a shirt. No personality allowed to come to the office. You know, you sort of have to pretend you haven't got a life outside the office, that kind of thing. But now you are definitely allowed to bring more personality. So it sort of brings me on to how you portray people from different industries. So you've just explained you're the go-to for personal branding with color, with personality, with energy, like those sorts of things.
Yeah.
And if you want a lifestyle thing, then maybe, you know, you need to choose a different photographer. But would you sort of make the lawyer look more serious and the chef look more chefy? Do you know what I mean? It's like, kind of, do you give them an identity on camera, or is it more about the person's personality?
No, I definitely think about their role. And so when I have a lawyer, like some people come and they do want to look more serious. So we have certain poses and expressions, and usually I'll do a whole range of expressions because we look at the photos together afterwards. So we're not making any decisions. You know, it's all digital, so we could take loads. And when we try, you know, some smiling, some more serious. But then I had somebody that sort of runs children's workshops, like children's music workshops, the other day, and that definitely needed to be more silly. And the way that I got those expressions was to get her to sing the songs that she does for the children, and obviously she's really happy and smiley and, you know, getting those arms going and things. So yeah, it definitely depends on the role, but that's, you know, I ask the client, what do they want to achieve? Like, who are they going to be, who's going to be looking at the photos, who do they want to attract through the photos? So for the lady who was doing the children's stuff, it was for the kids, but also for the parents and teachers. So it kind of needed to not be too silly, but kind of strike that balance. And for lawyers, you want to look serious, but you want to also look approachable. So it's a very fine balance with a lot of them.
It's a fine balance. I mean, it's taken me on now really to the thing that I know that I saw a post that you've done, and I've talked about this a lot before, is that one of the biggest things that people worry about when they come and do a shoot for their business, any kind of photography, is what to wear.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like, oh my God, you know, and some people don't like fashion, right? That's fine.
Yeah.
But it definitely has an impact on how you feel.
Yeah.
And it definitely can, it's part of your image. I mean, this is
Absolutely.
the non-verbal communication part of your image.
Yeah.
So if you're a lawyer, you don't look dated, but you want to look professional, polished, that kind of thing. You know, the children's presenter, like you said, wants to look approachable and fun for the kids, appeal to the parents and appeal to the kids. So what you wear is really important. I can really understand how people would really panic about that. So how do you prepare them for that? And I'm going to run through my tips in a minute, and I know that you don't agree with a couple of mine, which is good. That's good. But how do you prepare them for that, basically, for the shoot?
Well, I have a whole onboarding process for my shoots. So they get about 5 different emails before the day. And one of them is all about what to wear, because it does make a massive impact in the photos. And I suggest having block colors and trying to bring some sort of your brand colors in there and having some neutrals as well. So certainly cream and white look really nice against the pop of color in the background. Black's okay. And a lot of people feel safe in black, but it's a bit draining and severe. So I don't recommend black generally. And also having fitted clothes works really well. Like some people might think, oh, I feel a bit overweight, I don't want to have fitted clothes, but it looks much better to have fitted clothes and show your shape than to wear something too oversized, which would just make you look bigger. So I've sort of taken photos of myself and been really surprised actually of like some things I thought were too tight, but actually look great on camera. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend.
I think that's so true, actually, is that, and you know, that's something people do when they're feeling a bit insecure about their body, is they'll think that hiding under baggier clothes is a good thing. But actually, yes, on camera, it definitely stands out a lot more.
Yeah.
So fitted and thinking about your shape is really important. I mean, I'll run through the tips that I suggest. The block color is definitely something that I recommend.
Yeah.
Because it just stands out beautifully. It's quite useful to get your colors done. Get color analysis done so you know which colors suit your skin tone. And the good thing about this is that a lot of people know that naturally anyway. It's like they sort of, you know, you are drawn to the colors that suit you, and you can put a color on and think, oh my God, that really washes me out. So block color is always going to look great on camera and can give that authoritative look as well, if you know, for the lawyers, all that kind of thing. I think this is where we disagree a bit, Rosie, is I say avoid pattern, but avoid busy pattern. Like,
yeah,
if you're sort of on a Zoom or you know, something like that, it can strobe on camera, it can be very distracting, but you like a bold pattern.
Well, for example, the jumper that you're wearing today is a nice yellow and white stripe. That look amazing in a photo, but some people might want to bring like a paisley pattern wouldn't work well at all. It would just kind of, it would look awful on camera. So we're talking like really bold patterns is great, polka dots, that kind of stuff, but anything small won't work.
Yeah, definitely. And also I feel as well that pattern, well, I mean, I know that pattern dates quickly because we have trends, and you know that there'll be certain patterns that are in. Polka dots are a really good one actually, because polka dots never go out of fashion.
Yeah,
they're actually quite classic. What about stripe? You think this stripe's good, but on camera this would be good, that sort of stripe.
Yeah, look nice.
Also make sure it's not the time to try new style. It's not the time, so make sure it's something that you feel really comfortable in, that really feels like your sort of style, and obviously thinking about who you want to impress, like you say, when you're prepping them.
I say to people, think about your ideal client and what you'd wear if you were going to meet them for the first time, because that is basically what your photos are going to be doing. They're out there on the internet meeting your ideal first clients for the first time for you. So you should be wearing what you choose to wear, whether that's casual or dressed up.
Yeah, I mean, and it can be casual now. You know, more and more of us are wearing just casual clothing all the time anyway, and especially with hybrid working as well and all that kind of stuff. But that said, on camera, tailoring always looks more polished.
Yeah.
And like you said, and it's sort of the same thing, fitted clothes. So I would describe that. So casual can be really, really loose and baggy. So I would say just have something more fitted.
Yeah.
Even if it's a little fitted cardigan in a block colour, like a really sort of neat, smart cardigan. Tailoring, definitely. But if you're someone who never wears a blazer, don't suddenly wear a blazer on your photo shoot either, because
you'll look uncomfortable.
You'll look uncomfortable. You've got to look natural. But, you know, a tailored dress, something like that. I would say don't do ripped jeans unless a very casual creased clothing. That stands out.
Yes. Always have an iron on standby for our shoots.
Because it really, the camera picks up so much more detailed. I also said, because this is what, when I've had my photos done, is to get your hair blow dried, but you have makeup artists on set. If you're going to somebody that doesn't have a makeup artist and are kind of that's there for the whole day, then go and get your hair done at the hairdressers, get professional makeup done if you can,
But yeah, for our shoots, they do it at the beginning, and then they stick around for the whole shoot to keep an eye on things, and also to change up your look. So they'll change the lipstick color, and yeah.
Oh, that is fantastic. I mean, I think on camera as well, slightly stronger eye makeup than usual helps the eyes
Oh,
to
absolutely.
pop out as
Yeah.
well. And I sort of like, you know, you've already mentioned as well, maybe use your brand colors.
Yes, absolutely. I think if you're introducing colors that aren't in your brand, it can, if you're using the photos on social media on your website, you don't want to look like you tried too hard. But I think introducing extra colors that aren't part of your brand is just a bit confusing. So I'd say tones of your brand. Doesn't have to be the exact color, but those kind of tones is good.
Yeah, because that sort of ties it all together, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And now I say to people 3 outfits, but that's when, you know, if someone's hired me as their stylist, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, these are your 3 outfits for the shoot. But you say to people, bring like 9 or 10.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. They come with
outfits.
huge suitcases. Yeah. Well, I guess most people come and see me haven't had a stylist put stuff together. So I kind of take on that role a little bit. Not necessarily putting the outfits together, but more picking out what I think is going to work with the backgrounds. And if people only bring 3, then I'm really limited to just using those 3. And plus I might do 6 outfits in a shoot. So they've got like, they can choose what one, they've got like a selection afterwards. Yeah, so they do kind of, yeah, bring quite a few. It probably wouldn't work if we were out on the streets and they had to wheel around a suitcase, but as we're in the house, they can just hang it all up, and that's quite easy.
I have to say, yeah, I mean, you know, outdoor photos, I totally see why you've gone down this path of doing it in the house. Because I mean, it's just overall making everyone feel so much more confident, isn't it, and comfortable.
Yeah. It's cold, isn't it? It's cold and wet in England.
It's cold and wet, but also people do stare. They do.
Yeah,
I mean, they don't, you know, and it just adds to that level of insecurity. But I mean, I can tell that you just make people feel so relaxed.
Oh,
it's
thanks.
absolutely brilliant. So thank you so much, Rosie, for coming on. That was really interesting. I hope that gives people some confidence, you know, in going and being more visible and having their photos taken and trying to enjoy the day and look at it as a really fun thing. So this is Blue Monday today, Rosie. So you've cheered me up today. This is apparently the most depressing Monday of the year. In January we are, and it's quite grey outside, but it's been lovely chatting to you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.